or F-16S locked onto the old Cessna at 30,000 feet. The radio crackled. Unidentified aircraft, turn around immediately. Inside the cockpit, Sarah Windrunner didn't flinch. Her hands were steady, eyes calm. The terrified student beside her gasped. "They're going to shoot us down," Sarah replied. "Not today." Her ball cap, faded and frayed, hid the sharp eyes of a former ace. The lead fighter pilot hesitated. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, "Red Falcon, pause." Then all four jets peeled away, without a shot fired. Who was Sarah Windrunner, and why were elite pilots obeying a civilian flight instructor? What would you do if your country asked you to betray everything you believed in? Before continuing Sarah's story, share your thoughts. Have you ever had to choose between orders and conscience? Sarah Windrunner's story began on the Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota, where poverty was as common as prairie grass. Against all odds, she became the youngest female F-16 pilot in Air Force history at 22. Her call sign Red Falcon was earned during a legendary 7-hour combat mission that saved 200 Marines pinned down in Afghanistan. She flew through a sandstorm with zero visibility, relying purely on instinct and her photographic memory of the terrain. By 35, she was the first indigenous woman nominated for Brigadier General. She commanded the elite Ghost Wing Squadron with a perfect mission success rate. Fellow pilots said she could fly blindfolded through mountain canyons, reading the wind like her ancestors read buffalo trails. 5 years ago, everything changed during a classified briefing for Operation Silent Thunder. The target, an Iranian nuclear facility. But Sarah's analysis revealed the truth. The strike would hit a civilian water treatment plant, condemning 50,000 innocents to death by contaminated water. When she voiced her objections, General Morrison leaned across the table. "Indians should know about following orders," he said, his voice dripping with contempt. Sarah slowly removed her wings and placed them on the polished wood. "My ancestors knew about massacres too." The room fell silent. Morrison's rage was palpable, but he couldn't touch her. Not directly. His father was chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and the Morrison family had been military royalty for 3 generations. Operation Silent Thunder was a black-budget operation, known to only 6 people. Morrison controlled the narrative completely. The official story painted Sarah as mentally unstable, suffering from combat stress, seeing threats that didn't exist. Other squadron members who might have supported her were silenced through sudden promotions to distant bases, transfers to classified positions, or subtle threats to their families. Sarah accepted an honorable discharge for medical reasons, rather than face a rigged court-martial. The conditions were simple but brutal. Never fly military aircraft again, never speak of Operation Silent Thunder, disappear into civilian obscurity. Morrison made sure of that last part personally. Now Sarah teaches basic aviation at Desert Skyflight Academy in Nevada, earning $35,000 a year. She lives in a converted Airstream trailer on the edge of the desert, where the stars remind her of nights flying at 40,000 feet. Her students mock her behind her back. Windrunner claims she flew F-16S, they laugh. Right, and I'm an astronaut. The Academy owner, Jim Morrison, the general's younger brother, takes special pleasure in her humiliation. A retired colonel with an impeccable record, he runs the charity flight school with a board of directors that reads like a who's who of senators and defense contractors. He assigns her the worst aircraft, the most difficult students, and janitorial duties after hours. Sarah endures it all in silence, finding peace only when teaching young Native students for free on weekends. Strange things begin happening around the academy. Military aircraft circle at unusual hours. Former squadron mates accidentally find themselves at nearby truck stops, making eye contact but never speaking. The old military frequency she still monitors comes alive one night with an encrypted message. "Red Falcon, your country needs you." Sarah burns the message and returns to her lesson plans. But the signs multiply. News reports speak of escalating tensions with Iran, mysterious military buildups, diplomatic failures. Then her trailer is ransacked while she's teaching. Nothing's stolen, but an old photograph has been moved. When she picks it up, a hidden USB drive falls out, left by the intruder. The drive contains 20 years of Morrison family communications, financial records, classified emails, Swiss bank accounts. The pattern becomes clear. The Morrisons have been war profiteers for 3 generations. Morrison's father covered up a massacre in Vietnam to protect defense contracts. The Gulf War, Iraq, Afghanistan, each conflict carefully orchestrated to maximize profit. Silent Thunder was meant to trigger a larger war with Iran. Billions in contracts were already prepared, waiting only for the first strike. Sarah realizes she didn't just stop one mission, she disrupted an empire. She memorizes the key account numbers before burning the USB, understanding now why Morrison's hatred runs so deep. Retribution and detail. The breaking point comes during a visit from prominent defense contractors. Morrison parades them through the facility, stopping at Sarah's hangar. "This woman claims she was almost a general," he announces loudly, "can't even keep a Cessna clean. Some people just can't accept their limitations." A young native student, barely 18, steps forward to defend her. Morrison expels him on the spot. For the first time in 5 years, Sarah's hands shake. That night, a second encrypted message arrives with classified satellite photos. The target is the same civilian water treatment plant she refused to destroy. The timeline shows 72 hours until strike. The ghosts of Operation Silent Thunder have returned. The encrypted package reveals the full scope of Morrison's vendetta. His son, a promising young captain, had discovered his father's corruption, the Swiss accounts, the war profiteering, the blood money spanning decades. The boy confided in Sarah, seeking guidance from someone he respected. 3 days later, he died in a training accident over the Nevada desert. Morrison blamed Sarah for filling his son's head with what he called honor nonsense and naive idealism. Now Morrison has orchestrated the perfect revenge, the same target sold as a terrorist facility to a new administration. The pilot selected for the mission is Jenny Chen, Sarah's former student, now a lieutenant, who idolizes the very idea of serving her country. Jenny has no idea she's about to commit mass murder. Sarah's inner struggle tears at her core. Her promise to remain silent wars with her grandmother's words, spoken long ago on the reservation. Eagles soar alone, but see everything. She discovers Morrison has leaked her location to Iranian intelligence, painting her as a rogue agent with classified knowledge. They're coming for her. The USB numbers suddenly make sense. They match payments to Iranian officials. Morrison has been selling information to both sides, profiting from the conflict he helps create. That evening, Jenny arrives at the trailer unexpectedly. "Captain Martinez said you'd understand," she says, eyes shining with pride. "I'm flying tomorrow's mission, my first real strike." Sarah sees herself 20 years ago. Idealistic, trusting, deadly. Have you ever been punished for doing the right thing? Share your story below. Sarah makes her decision in the space between heartbeats. She opens a hidden compartment beneath the trailer's floor, revealing a dusty flight suit and patches reading "Red Falcon." Her hands move with practiced efficiency as she makes 4 calls. First to a CNN reporter who covered her discharge, speaking in code about a story that will shake the Pentagon to its foundation. Second to Carlos Reeves, her former wingman, now a Pentagon insider who never believed the official story. Third, in perfect Farsi, to an Iranian air defense contact from her intelligence days, warning them to evacuate civilians from grid coordinates she still remembers. Fourth, to a Swiss banking authority quoting Morrison account numbers that will freeze 3 generations of blood money. She burns her discharge papers in the sink, watching 5 years of forced silence turn to ash. "Get some sleep," she tells Jenny. "Tomorrow you fly with me." The next morning, Sarah takes Jenny on what's logged as a routine training flight. The same Cessna from the opening scene lifts off into clear Nevada skies. The flight plan shows a scenic tour of the desert, but Sarah's hands guide them toward restricted airspace. Jenny's training kicks in as they cross the first warning zone. "This is restricted airspace," she shouts over the engine noise. Sarah's voice remains steady. "I know every inch of it." Within minutes, F-16s scramble from 3 separate bases, surrounding their small aircraft in a display of overwhelming force. The lead pilot's voice booms over the radio, following standard intercept protocol. But then, on the encrypted military channel Sarah shouldn't have access to, she hears a different voice. "Red Falcon, this is Phantom. We've been waiting." Carlos Reeves leads the formation, and Sarah realizes the truth. Half the squadron refused Silent Thunder 5 years ago. They've been watching, waiting, protecting her from the shadows. Morrison listens from the command center, his face draining of color as he recognizes the betrayal. Suddenly, alarms sound in his office. Swiss authorities have frozen the Morrison accounts mid-operation. 40 years of transactions are being exposed. Pentagon auditors are already moving through the building. The carefully constructed empire begins to crumble. But Morrison still believes he can salvage the strike retreat. Edit Sarah's true plan unfolds with military precision. She isn't trying to stop the mission, she's leading it to the real target. The Iranian Air Defense Forces, warned 12 hours earlier, have evacuated all civilians from the water treatment plant. A CNN crew, embedded with Iranian forces after receiving an anonymous tip, broadcasts live footage of families being moved to safety. Sarah guides the formation through an impossible canyon approach, her muscle memory intact from 1,000 simulations. The jets follow her path, pilots mesmerized as they watch a small Cessna navigate terrain that challenges their advanced fighters. Jenny watches in awe as her instructor transforms into the legendary Red Falcon, understanding finally why generals deferred to this woman. The truth emerges through secure channels. A massive weapons cache lies hidden beneath the water treatment plant, placed there by corrupt officials paid with Morrison money. His son had discovered it during routine intelligence analysis, recognizing his father's financial signatures. The boy's death was no accident. Morrison ordered it to protect the secret. The revenge plan would have destroyed the evidence forever while killing thousands. Sarah's precision guidance leads the strike directly to the weapons cache. The explosion is surgical, contained, preserving the water plant while eliminating tons of illegal armaments. CNN's cameras capture everything: the saved civilians, the destroyed weapons, the truth laid bare for the world. Morrison's communications are intercepted as he screams about "my money, my legacy, my empire," while trying to reach his private jet. Military police arrest him on the tarmac, charges ranging from treason to conspiracy to murder. The real Red Falcon emerges from the shadows of 5 years, but her greatest victory is yet to come. The formation returns to base in perfect synchronization, a ballet of steel and precision that speaks to bonds deeper than regulation. Sarah lands separately at a civilian airport, where federal marshals wait not to arrest but to protect her. There are no medals, no ceremonies, no official acknowledgement of what just transpired. The president's encrypted message is brief: Red Falcon flies free. The government offers full reinstatement, general stars, a public apology, and restoration of her record. Sarah's response is a single photograph, her teaching native children in a dusty hangar, their faces bright with dreams of flight. "I've found my mission," she writes beneath it. She returns to the desert, to the battered Cessna, to the life Morrison tried to make shameful. But Desert Sky Academy is transforming. Morrison's assets, seized by federal authorities, pour into the school. New aircraft arrive weekly. Scholarships for native students multiply. The board of directors, purged of corruption, includes tribal leaders and education advocates. Young Jenny arrives one morning with 20 students from Pine Ridge Reservation. Each wears a small red falcon pin, handcrafted by tribal artisans. Sarah recognizes them immediately. Children of poverty, like she once was, eyes burning with impossible dreams. "They said Red Falcon taught here," Jenny says, her own transformation complete. Sarah's weathered face breaks into a rare smile. She does. The Morrison dynasty collapses entirely. 3 generations of war profiteering exposed, billions in frozen assets redirected to veteran rehabilitation centers. A documentary titled Blood Money: The Morrison Crime Family will win Emmy Awards, ensuring the truth survives. Years pass in the desert. Desert Sky Academy becomes the premier training ground for Native American pilots, producing more indigenous aviators than any institution in history. The Wall of Honors displays hundreds of names, but Sarah Windrunner appears nowhere. Every graduate knows the story, regardless, whispered from student to student like sacred knowledge. Before their first solo flight, each touches a small carving of a falcon worked into the wood of the briefing room door. Sarah watches from a distance, her hair gray now but her posture still military straight. She teaches advanced courses to the most promising students, sharing secrets of flight that can't be found in manuals. Where are you watching from? Let us know if heroes like Red Falcon exist in your country. The final scene unfolds at sunset over the Nevada desert. Sarah holds a red-tailed hawk, rehabilitated after a collision with a wind turbine. The bird's wing, carefully mended, flexes strong and true. She raises her arms, and the falcon launches into the amber sky, circling once before heading toward the mountains. Freedom earned through patience, healing accomplished through time. The voice belongs to no one she recognizes, but the words are universal. Red Falcon, you are cleared for unlimited ceiling. The message repeats in Farsi, then Lakota, then languages she doesn't recognize. Pilots around the world, military and civilian, acknowledging what was never officially recognized. Some heroes wear capes, others wear worn flight suits and teach in the desert. Sarah Windrunner, Red Falcon, reminds us that true courage isn't about glory, it's about choosing what's right when everything pushes you to do what's easy. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to remember that doing the right thing is never wrong, even when it costs everything. And if you're wondering whether Sarah's story is based on real classified events, well, some truths fly higher than fiction. Next week, we're sharing the story of the submarine commander who prevented World War III and paid with everything but his conscience. Remember, eagles may soar alone, but they see everything. Fly high, Red Falcons. The desert wind carries the sound of engines, young pilots practicing touch and goes in the fading light. Sarah Windrunner watches from her trailer door, a cup of coffee cooling in her hands. Tomorrow, she'll teach another student about crosswind landings, about reading weather in cloud formations, about trusting instruments when visibility fails. She won't mention F-16S or classified missions or the weight of refusing orders. But sometimes, when a student shows particular promise, she'll share something more. Flying isn't about the aircraft, she'll say. It's about knowing when to soar and when to dive, when to fight and when to glide home. The students think it's about aviation. Sarah knows it's about everything.